Hello. Welcome to
Hello,
the
hello.
Pastor and Professor. Hi, Doug.
Hello, Jay. How are you today?
I am well. I don't like that Doug was calling me today from the nice sunshine outside and palm trees, and his wife's having a beach day with the girls. Yeah. Thanks for that, by the way.
Sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
I miss
Totally
California.
slipped my mind.
I miss
Next
California
time I'm
so
going to
much.
put a green screen behind me with like snow or some
No,
kind of
no.
inclement weather. And no,
I'm teasing you. I'll take it. I'll soon enough. Soon enough. It'll be
hey,
Arizona and
that's it.
California
That's it.
for us.
Yep.
So welcome to the professor or the pod. I can't even talk today. The Pastor and Professor show. It's been an interesting day for me. I had to do my other show, the Sports Bias with Cleveland J, and I recorded one of our Super Bowl episodes about an hour ago, and realized I did the entire thing and I was muted. So it's been great. It's been great. So yeah. So a lot of the things
We can only
Yeah.
we can only go up from here.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so this is when you find out what the show is about, and so will we. So the first couple of weeks, we intentionally wanted to share our stories, our journey, our walk with God, share some of our shared history together, and then for me particularly, I wanted to share the story of my death and being sent back. That's hard to even say. It's still hard to say. But now we really don't know what we're doing. We really are still trying to figure it out. We're
winging a prayer, baby.
Literally winging this. We have some things that we want to do. As a result of us telling our stories, we've had several people reach out to us and make comments and kind of share part of their journeys with us. And that's something we would like to continue to do moving forward, is have people on the show who will share their journeys or part of their journeys with us, their walk with God, so we can kind of learn from them and kind of bond with them. And I really appreciate hearing people's stories, because everybody's story is different. Everybody's journey is different, right? Yeah. So I know that I'm looking forward to that anyhow.
My thought process too is also that it would be an encouragement to everybody listening. Whoever we bring in, their story may impact more than our stories. Their story may relate better than our stories. And so that's one of the things I think will be helpful as we bring in different guests, is that it'll reach a different demographic and speak to them in a way that we couldn't.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's a great point, because I've already seen that in the comments that I've received, and just saying, like, wow, I think, my story is so, I don't know the right word, but
unique.
Yeah, it's unique. That's we'll go with that. There's so many people that have been through so much more than I have, and that's so I'm interested to kind of add that component to the show, because I'm really fascinated about hearing about other people's journeys and how they walk with God, or if they don't yet. I hope we get people from all over the spectrum on where they're at in their faith. There are people that are not believers, people that are believers. Some are struggling at the moment. So I think that'll be interesting. So if you know of anybody that is interested in wanting to come on the show and share their journeys with us, send them our way. So we know we want to talk about music. We're going to talk about music tonight. That'll be a big part of the show moving forward, because it's been so powerful in both of our lives. And I will say there's other people that have reached out to us, and me particularly, mentioning the music component, because I made mention of that in both the previous episodes, and other people feel the same, that music is powerful in their lives, and God has spoken to them through music. And we're gonna show some things later. Speaking of music, for those of you who don't know, Doug was in a Christian rock band. What was the name of the band, by the way?
The band's name was Overdrive, and we started out as a Christian rock band. We segued and evolved into actually a Christian heavy metal band. So you'll get to see some early. Yes, there is a difference. Early day pics, where we tried really hard to look cool, and then later pics where we actually looked, I think, pretty cool. and we were actually really good musicians and singers and
Well, we're
such.
going to let
So
everybody else be the judge of that, Doug, because we have pictures.
that
We
that's
have
true.
pictures that we are going to bring out tonight. You are going to see long-haired Doug in his rocker
Yep.
days. So that'll be
Yep.
fun, and we'll talk a little bit about his rocker days. Because I'm fascinated about this. This is something we haven't talked a ton about. So any stories I can get from there, I'm gonna draw on
Oh,
him. So
I've got lots of stories, bro. We could be on here for days.
we're gonna have a couple episodes that are just that. That are just
All right.
that. Is there video out there of you guys playing?
I've got video.
Okay.
I know. I need to figure out if
I don't
I've got
even
it
need
digitized
licensing
yet.
to play that. So
No, I mean I'll send you my YouTube link, my Orange Cloud and my Orange
is it
Sound.
YouTube or is it MySpace? You have a MySpace? Did you have a MySpace name with the band?
I do. I was looking for my MySpace account the other day, but apparently
Do you have the
nobody has
one
a
friend
MySpace
Tim
account
too?
anymore.
Is that
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
Tim. Yeah, he was the owner of MySpace for a while.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you know Justin Timberlake bought MySpace?
Yeah,
for
I
a season?
did. I did.
Okay.
Um,
Tried to revive it. God
Yeah.
bless him.
yeah. Interesting stuff. So we will figure this out. We're just going to have conversations like we were sitting around the fire in California when we were together, and just kind of let God lead us where He's going to lead us, and figure it out. Again, I just wanted to have a platform to have these conversations with Doug and others. I'm fascinated by other people's walks and journeys, and I get moved very easily, as people know, and I cry easily, as everybody in the world knows probably now. I cried when I was doing the other show, and I was picking out the best Super Bowl commercials of all time, which was a lot of fun, and my kids hadn't seen any of them, and I just reliving some of those were awesome. The Doritos one where the little kid says, "Keep your hands off my mama and keep your hands off my Doritos."
Yeah.
Smacks. So that was awesome. But I was just laughing. I have no idea where I was going with that comment. There was something very profound, but my kids.
Oh, you were saying how sensitive you are and how oftentimes you cry. when you
Yeah,
went
so
into-
I'm watching it with my kids. Not that one, but the other one. There was one from last year, Jessica Long's story. She was a orphan in Siberia and is a 16-time gold medal winner and paraplegic swimmer. And the commercial is just, and there are a lot of Super Bowl commercials that are sentimental. But I'm sitting there crying, and Juju looks at me and goes, "Are you really crying? You've seen this before, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen it before. Why aren't you crying?" So she didn't get that side of me. But she's looking at me because the kids are always like, whenever we're watching a movie or there's a Hallmark thing on or whatever, they all like look at me like waiting for the tears to come.
Right.
Like, so I have to always like
3,
I'm like
2, 1.
yeah.
QJ crying.
They know. Anyway, so we're definitely going to talk about music. We're going to talk about sports a little bit today. It's Super Bowl week. We have some things to say. We wanted to do a little bit deeper dive into food than we're going to be able to because of my muting incident, but we are going to talk about food a little bit today. That'll be fun.
Yep.
And yeah, again, it's just an opportunity for us to talk about our faiths and our journeys and share it with others and hope people respond, and a way for me to hang out with Doug and go from there. So we're going to start off by, I want to talk about last week, kind of my reactions to it and kind of what's happened since. I think one of the most interesting comments I got was from my mom right afterwards. And my mom knew the story, obviously. She was really upset. My dad couldn't not watch it. It's still hard for him to see me have gone through what I went through. And my brothers, two of my brothers, are pretty much the same way. So they haven't seen it. One of the wives did, and she reached out to me, and I was so thankful. I've not reached back out to her yet because I've been busy. But it means a lot to me that people are responding and seeing it and having a reaction to it. We're gonna have somebody on in a little bit. My friend Karin. We have our first guest, by the way. We have our first guest joining us. She's going to come on and talk a little bit about her response to our show and my story particularly. I wasn't prepared. You guys obviously saw how emotional I was last week recording it, and I'm glad I recorded and didn't do it live. But then even watching me watch me, and then I watched me again. then I watched it back of me watching me do it. It was still it was a lot rawer than I thought. So I was unprepared for how much resurfaced, how much some of these things are still affecting me that maybe I didn't realize it. I've been trying to move forward with working on these shows and just trying to keep moving and letting God work in my life, and kind of just letting things happen and not forcing anything. But I've also felt like I realized last week that I was kind of still numb to some things and still have not confronted, it's not the right word, but last week was hard. It not sent me back, but like it took 3 steps backwards and 2 steps forward. But I guess there's some of that in my mind that the whole question of identity that we talked about, and hopefully we have a little bit more time to talk about that later today. But yeah, I mean, things were better than they were, but I'm not there yet. And I maybe I thought I was, or I was getting there. Even though I've talked about, crossing that line, all that is still there, but there's still questions and pain. And, I still don't, it really brought back more than anything, the question of why I was sent back. I hadn't thought about it in a while, at least in that way. And I wasn't going to cry in this episode. Yeah, I still question, and angry is not the right word, but like, why show me what you showed me and send me back? So I'm still working on that. So,
Yeah.
So it was hard. It was a lot harder for me, than I thought, Doug.
Well, yeah. And again, understandable. It's fresh. You're processing. There's a difference between, something that happened 20 years ago that you've had time to work through and process, and you mature and you kind of have a different viewpoint and all that kind of stuff where it helps you. I lost you guys. Hold on a second. That was weird.
You're probably timed out. I can still see you.
Okay, good. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
but my screen disappeared for some reason. So anyway, yeah. So something that has been this recent for you. You're still raw. You're still fresh. It's still going to take some time to process and get your thoughts together, and also hear from God and get some downloads as to his perspective on it. So we have the blessing of time and a lot of our things that have happened in our life to be able to process and work through. You haven't had that yet. You're still, it's new. So, you got to grant yourself a little bit of grace too, that, you're going to get some answers, we also need to remember that it's God's prerogative to say, you'll find out, just not going to be right now.
Yeah. And again, I've been patient,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess there's a little impatience now because I'm doing better, and able to at least function in some sort and work for spurts and stuff. I started cardiac rehab last week, and then I messed my back up, which has been another thing about this week. But I went to cardiac rehab today. They sent me back to cardiac rehab too because of what happened with my catheterization and everything. But yeah, I mean, there's like also that was like kind of backtracking, so that kind of sent me back. I mean, I'm happy about it. I'm excited, to get healthier and so forth, because I think I've lost sight of that a little bit since we got into the cabin. But anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to share that story. Not necessarily, again, not knowing why I'm supposed to, but I'm going to continue to tell it. Hopefully I can tell it in a way that, is more impactful and I don't break down and actually can tell. Cause there's some other things I want to say about it too, that I'm not able to yet. Because yeah. And I've learned that, I've learned along the way different perspectives of it too. I can see it. I can see differently from a lot of different angles, which I couldn't before. So, we'll talk about that as those come up over time. The other thing I wanted to say is I am so thankful for all the people that reached out to me. This was a very scary thing for me. Again, I said I was going to be vulnerable and brave and practice that. And that was me being about as brave as I've ever been. Cause I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know how people are going to respond. That sounds silly, but, you don't know how people are going to respond to an experience like that. And, but the people who reached out to me, means the world to me. And I know a lot of people will still see that. A lot of people still haven't seen it. My wife hasn't watched it yet. And there's some things in there that, that I wanted her to hear, after I listened to them. Like, I hope Annetta watches this soon. So, there's going to be people, it's out there now. And that's why we wanted to kind of do it early and get it out there. I want people to watch it and respond. So, hopefully a year from now, a whole bunch of people have seen that, and it's, started conversations and I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think it's gonna be a conversation starter. It's gonna be an encouragement. It's gonna be, a thought provoker. It's very, it's not something you can just hear and go, oh, and shrug your shoulders. I don't think. And so I think it's, my sense as a pastor, somebody who's been in full-time ministry for 35 plus years now, is that it'll be something that is going to impact people at various levels, but it's definitely going to be impactful. So I'm excited for your story to be out there and for people to hear it.
Oh, thanks, Doug, and thanks for allowing me, and thanks for being by my side with this.
Absolutely.
And please, I want to have these conversations. I want you to comment on it, regardless of how you respond or what you think of it, or if you have questions. And so when you see the video or come across the link, and please either reach out or, put stuff in the comments. I'm kind of starving for feedback, because like not hearing from some people too is like, oh, what are they thinking? And I know it's, for the people who know me, it's probably a rough watch. It's probably a rough thing to see somebody you care about, so emotional and going through something so profound. Cause it has changed me completely. I mean, not only physically, I have, these cognitive issues that I'm struggling with, and today's been a bad day with that. But all this new reality of my life. And again, trying to understand who I am in Christ and what that means to me and how I live and how I react to things and the people around me. And so anyway, so I definitely want to hear from you. Please don't shy away from it. I welcome your comments and your feedback and your thoughts and prayers. So speaking of that, we're actually going to bring on Karin. Hopefully I can do this right. I'm going to unmute Karin because I will forget. Okay. She is still muted. It's still muting. So let's see if we can bring her on and see what happens. All right. That's not her. See, I did it again, Doug. Dang it.
It's your subconscious love of this screen.
I love this screen, and I did it again. And if you watched my other show, I had the Sports Movie Awards the other night, the nomination show, and I actually used the screen, and I was so proud of myself. I thought I'd turn the page. All right. Hello, Karin.
There we go.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yeah, there she is. All right. Love technology.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
So thank you, Karin. Karin's a friend of mine who was one of those people who reached out to me. She actually saw the first episode, all three of you. I'm one of the three. I don't know how many people were. But she reached out to me after that first show, after Doug and I shared our journeys, and she shared some of the stuff with me and how it impacted her. And then she reached out after last week's episode, and it was very meaningful to me to hear her thoughts on this and her share what she shared with me. So we brought her on tonight just to kind of share what her thoughts and comments on our show so far and the journey she heard or my story last week, and kind of do that and then have some conversation about music, hopefully, because she had mentioned music to me in one of her things. So I wanted to pick her brain on that. So anyways, welcome, Karin.
do that too. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jay. I just wanted to say that I happened on your show on Facebook that day, and it said the pastor and the professor, so that kind of piqued my interest. I know Jay and I worked together in the past, and just kind of hadn't seen or heard from him in a while. And then when I read what it was about, I was very intrigued to see what journey you had. And my story is about death and loss. And so when you had said, you know, you died and came back to life, that kind of piqued my interest. So, and I really enjoyed it. I actually, it gave me a lot of food for thought. Doug's book, I was interested in learning more about that. And then wanted to hear your story, and actually resonated some with me on the music aspect. Music speaks to me, my soul. God, I believe, speaks to me through music at different times in my life. And so yeah, that's why I have listened both weeks just to see what you guys have to say, and to learn from it too. So it's been fun.
Well, I appreciate you
Fun and
listening.
hard. I mean, it's been fun to see what you guys have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, so hard. It's brought up
Yeah.
stuff for you that that's difficult to face and talk about. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I wanted to do the show too. I
And
wanted
hard
to
just
start
to hear what
conversation.
you've gone through.
Yeah, yeah. We have a little bit of a delay on my end, but we'll see.
Hmm.
It'll work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I appreciate you, the kind words, and I'm you know I'm glad that you reached out because it means the world, and I'm hoping that we can have more conversations off the line and have coffee, and I want to know more because I'm fascinated by your story.
Hmm.
And that's what I was saying earlier. It's everybody has a
Yeah.
story, has a walk, and it's all different, and there's
Hmm.
people that have gone through a lot worse things than I have and been through more trauma than I have. I've been blessed with not having to deal with a lot of stuff, but there's people out there that, and you don't, something could seem little to you, but it could be huge, fundamentally profound to them.
Hmm.
So was there one thing in
Right.
particular that, kind of caught you from one of the shows that struck a nerve or was hard to hear for you to hear
Yeah.
or
No, actually, it was your part. So and I'm gonna get emotional too. But I mentioned to you earlier today that my story is about loss. I lost probably 5 people in my life by the time I was 19 years old, and when I was 13, something very tragic happened. I lost a cousin of mine who was 10 to an accidental shooting. And I went to her funeral, and it was frightening because they had an open casket. And I was fearful of death from that point on until I was 30 years old. I was afraid to fall asleep as a child. I struggled. It was funny. It usually was on a Sunday night when I would have my worst battles with fear. Um, and it took me until I was 31 years old to be able to get past that, to not fear. Actually, it was the casket. Um, and my grandmother had a massive heart attack in the hospital, and I went down to help my mom, to be there and support my mom. And on my way down, I was like, Lord, whatever you do, don't put me in the room with my grandma when she dies, because I was terrified of what that would be like. And it was the most peaceful time for me to see death up close and to see her peaceful passing. And in my brain, I saw Jesus coming and her spirit leaving, and she seen us by her bedside, and her going to heaven. And so that was just a glimpse, and it really gave me peace. I mean, I'm not bothered by it anymore. Well, when you shared your picture of heaven and what you saw when you were in heaven, that gave me, I mean, I don't struggle with it, but it was like, oh, cool. How cool to experience that and to be able to share that with other people. That just, it was, I don't know, it just really lifted my spirit to see what you experienced, to hear what you experienced, and even to know that it was hard to explain, because in the Bible, you know, even some of the disciples said it was hard to explain what heaven was like. And so that just kind of gave me a glimpse of heaven, and I thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah, that's I mean I'm emotional hearing it. Doug, you gotta say something because I can't. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
No problem. Yeah, Karen, that's awesome. And it's just like God to do that. He's a God who redeems, restores, resurrects if necessary. Jay's evidence of that.
Mm.
And but looking back on my own childhood and things that I struggled with and things that I went through and things that carried into my adult life, and watching God in the healing process bring me to certain moments that were the turning point, or the tipping point,
Mm.
if you will, and see him take something that for us, had been such a hard place or a hard circumstance, and then relieving that off of us and taking that burden off of us, or that fear away from us. And um, that's just awesome to hear, how impactful that was for you. Because I believe that's the heart of God. He desires to turn things around for us. He desires
Mm-hmm.
to, change us and change our circumstances in such a way that we live a blessed, fruitful, you know, faith-filled life. I think makes me think of a quote that I've heard. I couldn't tell you the author, um, but he basically is talking about uh, life wouldn't be so hard if we wouldn't expect it to be so easy, right? And I
Mm.
think sometimes we need to settle into understanding that there are going to be difficulties. Jesus said it. He said, "In this world you will
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
tribulation." So there are hard things we have to face, but we have the author of the universe. We have the author of life, who promises to be with us to change either us or our circumstances. And if he doesn't change the circumstances, he changes us to be able to handle our circumstances. And so
Mm-hmm.
we have that promise. And, it's just, I think a lot of times we just think, why am I going through this? I had a friend call me today, and he had a big struggle that happened today, and something, bad that happened to him, not physically or anything like that, but just a bad circumstance. And he said, I need to process this. I need to get it out. And by the end of the conversation, he was laughing. He was felt encouraged. He felt, you know, not defeated anymore. And so, that's what we need to do for each other. As Jay shares his story, it's, yeah, it's hard to
Mm.
see Jay, go through what he's going through, but you're able to encourage him, and what he said encouraged you. And so
Right.
that's what
Mm.
God calls us to. And I love the Hebrews 13:3, I think it is. It says, encourage one another as long as it's called today, unless your hearts become hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. And so part of our responsibility as humans towards one another, especially as believers, is that we would constantly look for opportunities to speak encouragement and life and blessing over the people in our lives that we know that are struggling, that we know need it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can get so myopic and go, oh, I'm struggling with this, or I'm dealing with this. And if you can't take your eyes off yourself and your problems or your bad situation, it has a tendency just to keep taking you down. And so we need to first get our eyes on God. He's the glory and the lifter of our head. And then secondly, we need to look for opportunities to give. Give, and it will be given back to you, right? Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so I think if we are proactive in looking for people in our lives that we know are struggling, that we know need a kind word, that we know need prayer, whatever it is that we can do to have a positive impact on their life, to sow some good seed in their life, to be there for them, sometimes just to be a listening ear, and to let them
Yeah.
talk. Then that's, I think, what changes our world, what changes us. And I'm glad that you were blessed, and I'm glad that you turned around and you were a blessing to Jay. So just watching this, it's just seeing it work the way I believe God intended it to work.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, there's so many things you said in there that I was going to write them down and I didn't. So one of the things that stuck out to me after going through that was seeing how hard life is here.
Mm.
And so I think I still struggle with that. But again, trying to walk my faith and be who God intends me to be. I'm still understanding and learning that. And yeah, it's having this conversation. How awesome is this? This is exactly.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do this before. Not that I didn't have anybody to do it. I didn't trust. Maybe I had trust issues, or maybe I didn't ever show this side of me before. And maybe part of it, I'm older, and I'd already been going through kind of a spiritual thing before my heart attack. In the last couple of years, I've really been taking a hard look at everything in my life and how I want to live, how I want to raise my kids, who I want to surround myself with. And, I didn't have, I'd never been able to have these conversations. So this is all new to me. It's exciting for me. It's exciting for me to have, Karin on and other people on and have these and feel more and more comfortable in talking about God and faith. But most importantly, understanding who I am and what my role is here, and acting out my faith. It's one thing for me is having this relationship. My relationship with God has always been so private to me, that that's not what God's calling me to do. Now, it's clearly not that I need to live out loud, and I know it's cliche, but, and don't know now how to necessarily do that. But there was a couple points in the last couple of weeks that I haven't felt myself since that. And there was a couple moments. One, I was at the grocery store and I was in line and the kids are with me. An older couple was in line behind me. And I went actually through the thing at Meijer, and Karin will understand that. I don't know. You go through the line at Meijer, you're there for like an hour. I mean, just watch how slow they scan stuff. It's unbelievable. Like they're trained to do this. But I was the only one. I think we just lost Karin. She'll get back. I think she dropped her phone in our tech check, so maybe that's what happened too. She is calling in from her phone. But there she is. Let me get her back in. There you are.
Sorry, I got kicked off.
That's right. So I'm at Meijer, and this old guy is back there, and I had a loaf of bread on the end, so I didn't get on the cart, so it was stuck there. And I had made some joke about. He said, "Is this yours?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's trying to steal my bread. Like, just gave him this look, and he's totally joking. He's laughing, and then I was messing with the teller. It's like, make sure you check them, because I was like trying to tell her like nobody else knew. It's like, make sure they're sketchy. It was just one of those things. It was so simple, but it was one of those moments where it was all joyful and fun, and they were laughing, I was laughing, and I don't know. I can't explain it. It was a moment that I saw myself thriving again, I guess is the one word. And then there was another moment where we had a friend call up, and she's she wanted to come hang out, and we were really busy. We had stuff going on. The house was a mess, all the normal excuses that I said, well, do you want to hang out? Or you need to hang out? I don't even know what possessed me. That's that. She just kind of indicates like, yeah, I really don't want to be alone. I'm like, that was a no brainer for us. And I was, even though it was not the best time for us, I was so thankful that she had a place to go, and that we were living that. We didn't turn away, because there's times in my life I should have been like, I'm really tired, or this isn't a great time. It didn't matter to me if it was a great time or not. There was a friend in need, and even if it's just a simple need, or just wanted company, I really saw God in that moment of acting out and living my faith. And again, it might sound simple and to some people that it was just a simple act, but there's so many of those simple moments in life that are so impactful, and I was just thankful. I was just thankful that we could help. We could be there for somebody. Because I don't think that's always been the case.
Let me just piggyback on that just for a second, Jay, because there's some identity stuff in here that maybe you don't even know you were talking about. But when you were saying that, these simple moments, they become pivotal moments. They, in a lot of respects, determine, who, or it shows us who we are, and it determines who we're becoming. as we say yes to certain things. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, somebody else may be out there with a homeless feeding ministry, right? They're out there every week, handing out meals and all that kind of stuff. But they started at a place like you just described, which is they had that one moment to be kind to somebody at the end of a off ramp, off the 101 or 405, where there's someone standing there with a sign that says, need food, right? Or I'm hungry or whatever. And that's those type of moments that we encounter, become segues to when we say yes, when we exercise compassion, when we, are kind, when we share a smile or a laugh with somebody, it becomes easier to do it the next time. And that really starts to determine the person that you are becoming. And so I wanted to catch that because I thought that was very important. It's not just a simple, okay, I'm getting back to normal. It's really a part of how God is changing who you are.
I think I sensed that. Karin, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, I agree with that too. In some of my darkest time, one of my darkest times in my life, I wondered why I was going through it. Would I ever be back to normal? Would I ever feel better again? And the Lord has really used it for me to be able to move forward and to work with other people that are going through something similar. So God has used my dark moments to
Yeah.
be able to glorify Him now with my career. So it does. I agree.
Yeah.
It does. He does use us.
And I
Our
think
broken vessels, He uses us.
that's what I'm sensing too. I think I brought up those two moments because I sense exactly what you're saying, Doug. I felt like it was God showing me just a glimpse of who I really am. Again, there were simple moments, but it was just a glimpse of, because I remember just feeling free and light and what I was supposed to do. It like wasn't conscious, or wasn't, I need help. I got to be there for somebody, or just messing around with the old man. It was just like it was natural and free, and it after the fact, I was just like, you know what? I think that was God saying to me, like, okay, that's a little bit of who you are, and don't forget that. There's a lot more, but it was just a simple thing to kind of keep me going. And I think God often uses those times, Karin, like you said, and I wonder about that with me. I don't feel that yet, but I know that He often uses us in that manner. Am I here or is part of my purpose to help other people through similar circumstances, or with a heart attack? I don't know what it is, but I sense that something is working, or that I just don't know it yet, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's great. I mean, who had thought we'd be on the call together, Karin, talking about God in our faith? I mean,
I know, it's exciting. So
yeah,
I'm
it is exciting, and
grateful for it.
I feel that the show the first couple of weeks was so heavy, and it was because of me. It was because I was so heavy from me, but it's not. That's not my life, other than dealing with this. Like I'm learning again more and more who I am, that some of those things that I knew about myself before are starting to come out more. And the heaviness, I wanted this to be fun and certainly get serious when we need to get serious and talk about stuff, but I didn't want it to be so heavy. And so I'm thankful that I can have these conversations. I've never been able to do this. And I think it's just, I'm proud of myself, which is a weird thing for me, to actually have these conversations. I remember being in the library over here at NMC, hiding the Campus Life magazine, reading that, and didn't want anybody to see me, reading about stuff. And, that I was, Jesus freak, because, DC Talk Song was out like that time too. It's like, all right. But anyway, so.
Oh, you're so young, Jay.
Oh yeah. We've already been there, Doug. So just, we already established that I'm a little bit older than I thought than you. I thought we were a little bit.
Well, you referenced, DC Talk, Jesus freak.
I remember. It's a good segue to music.
It is.
I remember. I don't know if either one of you remember this, but I grew up loving R&B music. And do you remember Video Soul with Donnie Simpson?
Yes.
It was on BET.
BET, baby.
Yep. They played Heaven Bound, which was DC Talk's very first song. And that's I remember him from the very first day that song, and it's so unbelievably awful now.
Yes.
But it's interesting, like with Toby Mac, who was the head of DC Talk and went on his own. I heard an interview with him recently about they took a break, which they haven't come back from. They took a break so Michael and Kevin could go do solo projects, thinking that he would just sit around, wait for them to be done so they can get back together. And how ridiculous that sounds now. Not that, they both haven't done well, but, Toby Mac's he's like one of the most talented people on the planet. He's like Justin Timberlake and that type of talent.
Yeah.
And seeing him evolve through this and always on like cutting edge stuff. Because let's be honest, I'm gonna offend people now. I'm already getting hate from not picking Prince as the Super Bowl halftime winner. I'm hesitant to say this. Can you tell? A lot of Christian music traditionally has been very simple, very not shallow, but it just very simple music. And I guess relying on it's not necessarily good music. I mean, the lyrics might be impactful for you at a given time. And Karin and I were talking about that earlier, about how a song can come to you at a time in your life, and it's so impactful. And it could be a song that have known for years, and all of a sudden it's because of the season you're going through. But a lot of Christian music is very simple and not great. Let's just put it that way.
I've been in the Christian music industry since 1986. I listened to some stuff before that. And I would agree, it hasn't always been the pinnacle of, best produced or best written. There have been breakout moments, I think, along the way, and bands that have done really well. You mentioned Toby Mac. I'll just say he might have been one of the best live shows I've ever seen.
Lost her
and
again.
I'm not. Yeah, she'll be back. But I'm not like as huge of a R&B hip hop fan that I used to be back in my early teens. But Toby was phenomenal, and I've seen DC Talk as well. Traveled with the Billy Graham Crusades, saw them on a couple different occasions, and so we've come a long way as an industry. I think we're catching up. I think we're actually finally producing music that has a unique sound to it, and it's not just copying what is popular in the secular arena. So it's exciting to be alive today.
Yeah, I think even worship music has changed quite a bit. I mean, again, worship songs for me in the past have just been okay. Yeah, I mean, and again, maybe it's me changing, my heart's changing, because maybe it's that, but anyway. So speaking of music, Karin and I had talked a little bit about earlier. She had commented to me after one of the shows about how music had impacted her, and I'd mentioned that music is the vehicle to my faith, and it always has been. Music was always the thing that allowed me to explore that side of myself and feel closer to God. And it always starts with music, including this last thing. So last winter, being in Chicago and kind of being stuck there randomly because of COVID and so forth. And I wasn't necessarily in a bad place, but a Toby Mac song again came on, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about this, and started listening to it, and then started listening to some of his newer stuff, which led to Graves to Gardens being on my Facebook feed, and I watched it, and I was like, what is this? It's like, I mean, the energy and the excitement. It's like, yeah, this is the stuff I like. This is the energy I like, and since then, as I'm looking at Elevation on the screen, it's impacted me. I can't even begin to tell you of all the different times in my life that music has impacted me. Now it's just like I can't get enough of it, and I hear things differently and connect, and so I was wondering for both of you, kind of a question to both of you, two questions. One, are there songs from your past that you connect with, or you go to in a time of need, or you can remember a song from a time of need. And it could be, it doesn't have to be a Christian song. Like Karen and I were talking about earlier, I have a whole playlist of, happy feel good songs that just make me happy and move me. So are there there's songs like that in your life that you either go to or you can remember a season in your life that it meant something to you? And I guess the second question would be, what are you listening to now? So let's go with Karen first.
Karen, ladies first.
Yes, Jay, I have quite a few songs in my past that different seasons. Actually, it's interesting. If I hear a song on the radio that is from my past, it brings me right back to where I was at that time when I heard that song.
There's something better about hearing it on the radio too, isn't there? Versus you just playing it on your thing. It's just that it randomly comes up. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Yes, there were. I know one that was big. I told you earlier, back when I was in college, I had a friend who was had a brain tumor, and Kool and the Gang, Cherish, the song came on at the time, and I didn't think you'd probably know that song, but you did.
You have no idea. There's not a really bigger Kool and the Gang fan on the planet. So
yeah, right. And that really spoke to me, and it ended up, I wrote a note to our church just to ask for prayer for him, and he ended up waking up from a coma the next day, and so that was just a huge time where I saw God answer prayer, and it was through a song that was not necessarily, it wasn't a Christian song, and but music, speaks to me deep down into my soul, and if I'm going through a tough time, usually God provides a song to me, and then I just tend to listen to it over and over and over again for days, months, and until I feel like it really just seeps my whole body, mind, and spirit into that song. And I was telling you earlier too that sometimes I wake up with music in my mind going through my mind, and usually kind of listen to what song it is and how it may impact my day. So
that's so funny because it's exactly what I do. Like there's like, again, I keep on harping on or keep on mentioning Elevation because I'm in one of those moments where anything Elevation, Brandon Lake, Chris Brown, I am Maverick City. It's like, but those songs I have it like wait for you, or one of those songs in my head when I wake up. It's the first thing I think of. So I'm in that one of those moments right now. And Kool and the Gang. So I'm a huge Kool and the Gang fan. Now I also have to say, the song Celebrate is one of the worst songs ever of all time. It's the song, one of the songs I hate most. There's Monster Mash, Achy Breaky Heart. It's just some song. So when I was in 7th grade, the boys were playing basketball. The girls had a divider gym. The girls were having modern dance, and they were doing a routine to Celebrate. For 6 weeks. That's all I heard. And I was a big Kool and the Gang fan way back from, Ladies Night and everything else, and even before that. But that Cherish album was great with Tonight on it. And I still have the best record I have is a 12-inch mix of Fresh from Kool and the Gang. So Get Down on It. My boy loves Get Down on It. Get Down, God.
Yeah, I like that one too.
But I hate Celebrate. Anyway, little aside. All right, Doug, what about you?
Well, first I'm going to start off by saying that Kool and the Gang came and played a concert in my hometown at the university that was there. That was one of my
What
first...
year?
Oh, gosh.
Roughly.
1980-ish.
Yeah, okay.
80, so, 81. Well, when did
time.
Right around that time. So I got to see him live. That was pretty awesome. For me, this is a plethora. It's hard to pick. Like I got 100 songs running through my head right now. I will say this, probably one of my favorite pick-me-up songs, just like if I'm struggling, is Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. Just lyrically, that just brings me, it centers me. It just, keeps me humble, but it lets me know that, God is in my corner. Kerry Livgren, by the way, if everybody doesn't know, is a believer, and many other the Kansas band members became Christians, and so. But I don't know that they were necessarily back then. But
can I interrupt again? Can I interrupt again?
Yes.
So it's so funny. I think it's just so interesting conversation because I remember being a kid with Kansas in Carry On My Wayward Son song on. I remember sitting there and like I had a basketball between my legs and just beating the basketball to the beat of the thing and like hearing the lyrics for the first time and like really liking the song and not understanding, like never hearing lyrics like that or at least paying attention to lyrics like that. Cause again, I was feeling called to God and this pull from God way back then. And I remember listening to lyrics and just pounding and doing that little drum solo or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have a connection to that song too.
Well, and it's just a phenomenal music.
Yeah.
I mean, like the musicianship in that song is like incredible. So that's my non-Christian song that I'll shout out, which I have a gazillion more. But for me, I go back to milestone eras. So like sometimes I'll go all the way back to when I first became a Christian and I was listening to Ron Canoli, who's Hosanna Integrity. Jay, I don't know if you ever have heard anything that he's done, but just he spoke to me in that season of my life and got to see him actually record 3 live albums at different times. And, so some of his songs, and then it was Hillsong, and then it was Jesus Culture, and then it was Bethel. And I've graduated up to Maverick City and Elevation now. But there's people, worship leaders that not many people know about: Nina Landis, Rick Pino, Leonard Jones from Morning Star, Don Potter as well. Where it's, it just depends on what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
If I need some good warfare songs, I'll go to a certain worship artist. If I need good, just in-depth adoration and worship where I just need to prostrate myself and get before the Lord, there's certain songs and things that I'll go to. But currently Maverick City and Elevation definitely have my ear most of the days of the week. I
was so excited when he told me that. I asked him like a month ago or so, and he said it. I was like, "What? Really?"
Yeah. That's where I'm at currently. But even I'll go back to my Christian rock, Christian metal moments. I'm at Old Petra Res Band, Striper, Bloodgood, go-to bands, Barren Cross. Yeah.
I after we mentioned it last week, I played Beyond Belief. Do you remember the video for that song?
It was the desert one, right?
It was awful. Yeah.
And they're in the desert. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, look, Christian music didn't have much budget.
Yeah.
Back then, so they did what they could.
So, Karin, did you have did you grow up in the church?
I did, yeah. And I have to say that I grew up believing in God, even though I was going through some of those struggles. But it wasn't until my friend in college.
Oh no! Cliffhanger.
It's great TV. This is just great.
It's good. People are going to come.
We worked this out. We worked on Karin joining the show this morning, so this all came about today.
Sorry.
So this is not Karin's fault. This
That's
is my
all
fault.
good.
No, it's good. So you're talking about your
phone
friend.
just keeps knocking me off.
Yeah.
Take 2.
So you're talking about your friend in college.
Yeah. And so my friend, he was 2 weeks from graduating from college and ended up having a brain tumor and was in a coma for quite a while. I was very angry at that point with God and really wondered if I really believed in a God that would do that. So that was when I believe, and I've said before, that my faith became real, because that's when that song came on, because people were saying, I wish I would have said this to him or whatever. And Cherish came on, and so then I wrote that note. And when he came to out of his coma the next day, that really impacted me. And I was like, okay, God is real. And he eventually died, but that was just a miracle in my eyes. And I believed that he was real at that point. So I grew up, I believed wholeheartedly. And even when I struggled with the death and the dying, I believed I'd go to heaven. It was just the process of dying that was fearful for me. And so, yeah. And different seasons, you get close and you draw away, and whenever you're walking through hardship and stuff. So, but yeah.
Did you thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that from her. You had said when your faith became real.
Yeah.
And I got, at least I take that as letting go of some things and just fully trusting, and also your behaviors change as a result of that too. At least because I kind of feel that now, even though I've been, like you said, been closer in the past and, and so forth, and never thought that I was necessarily real far away from God. But now I feel just that. I feel like my faith is so much more real right now than it ever has been. So it's like that, I'm having that moment, that you had.
Yeah. And I do believe that I've felt that at different times. I mean, I still am a believer, but yet when I went through one of my darkest times, I do believe that I, again, saw God working I mean, he works all the time, but in my life, I was like, okay, he is there. He is with me. And maybe I lose trust. I don't know. But at those points, I've seen him, and it just makes my faith grow stronger, I think is what it is. When I said it was real before, it was my parents, grew up going to church and believing what they had taught and things like that. But I really said, yeah, this is what I believe, and I will follow God from that point forward. So,
were there, growing up in the church, was there, I think you said earlier you're a country music fan.
I think I figured
folks.
it out.
What?
I think we need to make sure next time people have their don't have their screensavers on.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's probably what's going on.
It makes it more interesting.
It does. It does. Just, cliffhanger number 2.
It's real. It's real.
It's real.
She's probably just not going to call back now. It's like, okay, I can't do it. I can't keep on doing this. Because it's taking her long to call back in this time. You're gonna have to help me with what we were talking about. Maybe her phone died.
She said country music. Yeah, maybe. That was going to get really interesting.
It was.
She was going down the road of country music.
Me and country music. Yeah, maybe her phone died. I don't know. Let's see. I'll go back to that one screen until she comes back on.
Oh yeah, your favorite screen. There we go.
Comes in handy. Yeah, I mean, again, we're going to talk about music a lot. I asked you guys that question, and I don't know if I have an answer to those songs. I do. I just can't think of them now because right now I'm in the midst of this, and that's kind of all I think about. But there are certainly songs, but I can't really identify one. There was a song back to that time when I was at my parents' house in Indiana, and really, when I knew that God said, rise and go. There was a song. Remember Clay Cross?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a song called "Surrender," or "I Surrender All."
Yeah.
That song was, that song just. I purposely sometimes wouldn't play it when it came on because it was so much for me. It drew everything out of me, and so I remember that song. Yeah, especially some of those early Christian music was just. I can't believe it spoke to me the way it did because it wasn't. I mean. Not that I don't like Michael W. Smith. I love Michael W. Smith and, the time and place for it, but I mean, it's not that great. And I love Amy Grant. And then there was Carmen. Remember Carmen?
I love me some Carmen. It was cheesy, but it was so, it was entertaining. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. No, he was definitely an entertainer. And then, who was I was like, remember Michael English?
Oh yeah, Michael was a phenomenal singer.
He was, and then that's the one thing too. So this is one of those moments, stuff I've always wanted to ask, and I don't know if it's really a question as much as a statement, but the hypocrisy, because Michael, who was I saying?
English?
Yeah, Michael English. Had fallen out of favor because there's some kind of controversy or something in his life. I don't remember what it was, but it's happened with numerous Christian artists that. If any mistake, any failure, anything, especially now in this day and age, because everything's that like everybody abandons them and they're evil and they're not worthy. So don't listen to music or anything else. Or like the whole Christian industry will just what's the word I'm looking for? Not ban, but I don't know, shun.
Well, it's
shun you.
Yeah.
And
It's Christian cancel culture, and the ironic thing is, for a lot of people who rail against cancel culture, and I'm not a fan myself,
Yep.
is that we, not that we started it, but we certainly have been practicing it for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You know, and especially like you're talking about within the Christian music community, but it's also within church. It's also the, you know, the people that failed that were televangelists and those type of things. And yeah, you know, some of that may have been over the top, tacky, whatever to begin with, but we haven't done a good job as the church of seeking restoration, of seeking healing, of helping somebody get back up after they've fallen. And that's it's going to be a big part of my second book that I'm working on right now, in dealing with that, because, you know, I definitely saw it in Christian music. You know, we were doing heavy metal at a time when just even Christian pop wasn't allowed in some churches, some church circles. You know, it was like, your music's of the devil, right? We had to deal with those type of things. You know, in the time that we were doing stuff, I had, get this, 7 earrings, right? Long hair.
Thanks for the segue, Doug.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Here they come. I gotta go back to that other screen.
Yeah, you gotta go back to the other screen.
I got other screens around the other one. Or actually, no, I'll lift them up. All right, keep on talking. I'm gonna.
Okay. So, you know, that was hard. You know, even in my home church, right, where the founding member of our band was like just beloved, you know, they didn't know what to do with us. They let us play on a Sunday morning, and I think half the people in the church were like shocked. You know, they were like, "Yep, here we go." You know, and you know, we are playing rock music in the front of the church, and you know, church people who are used to church music, which was at that point piano, organ, hymns, in the church that I grew up in. You know, they knew who we were. They knew we were good kids. They knew, you know, we loved Jesus, but they just didn't know what to do with the music.
Maybe, or not.
Is she back?
No, I thought she was.
Oh,
okay. Maybe texted or something.
We'll throw up another pic. We'll go through here and I'll tell you. That's circa 1993 right there.
Yeah, she said her phone died. Hold on.
Darn it.
No worries. I figured. So remind me from now on when we have guests, make sure their phone's charged if they're going to use their phone. I figured that is what happened.
And take the screensaver off, because I think that's what kept kicking her off.
Yeah. Yes, let's go. Let's take this one off and look at you.
So same show, obviously. You know, horrible outfit by me, but
I love this one.
This is where it all began. So this was 1986. As cliche as you can get. A Good News Bible in one hand, an American flag in the other. My hair hadn't even gotten long yet.
Were you able to grow a beard back then?
No, I was like non-shaving still, probably, even at 17 years old. But if you look really closely at the glove there, I stole my sister's lace glove because Madonna was all the rage back then.
Yep.
Just to have something on my hand. Oh my god!
It's the 80s, dude.
Yeah, it was the 80s. Did you have one more, or is it just
I do.
Okay. Oh yeah. So
that's money.
Yeah, when I met Monica, 1991, in Los Angeles. That's at LAX airport. And that day, or actually the next day, when I went home, I called her and asked her to marry me after 3 days.
Really?
So, yeah.
I didn't know that story.
Heard the audible voice of God. That's for another episode. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, but we were just hanging out, and God said, "This is your wife. Ask her to marry you." So there it is.
Oh yeah, all right. I'm not going to dive deep into that now, but we're going to.
We'll come back.
We're going to. We're gonna have to get her on. We should do a show with both wives on.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually wanted to have Annetta on and get her side of everything that happened. And maybe we'll still do that, but it won't be as heavy. She won't allow it to get it as heavy. Right. It'll be upsetting to me. But yeah, I think we should do an episode with the wives on and have some of these faith conversations and so forth. And that'd be fun. That would definitely be fun. Well, Doug, we're going to talk about sports.
Yes. Let's close out. With
all right. We'll close out that. All right. So we will be definitely in the next couple of weeks, diving into Doug's book. Obviously, we didn't get to much tonight, but we'll do that over time. We'll do that over the next month, 2 months, and so forth. Because I have a lot to say. I actually lost my Kindle with all my notes. All my highlights and everything. So that was part of the reason. But so we do want to talk about sports because it's Super Bowl week. And I've been doing Super Bowl shows all week. Oh darn it! One of the things I wanted to do because I didn't because not pressing mute or unmute is I sent Doug. I don't know if I have. Do I have it? Oh wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Did I send that to you in a text, Doug?
Let's find out.
Love your Virginia Tech. It's right. No, not that one. Not that one. Oh, did I do it on?
Might have been on Facebook.
It might have been on Facebook, which I have that too. I have everything right and handy right here. Oh, I did. What is this one? Oh, the one that I sent you from Joe Burrow. Fun fact, Joe Burrow has more playoff wins in January 2022 than Dak Prescott, Tony Romo, and the entire Dallas Cowboys have Dallas Cowboys $6 million franchise has in 27 years. Again, it's only funny because it's a Cowboys joke, but I'm a Browns fan, so it's not like I'm coming from the Steelers standpoint, or anything else. It's like I'm saying this as a Browns fan. No, what was the other one I thought was really funny? That was the Scooter McGraw one you sent me. Oh, there was one that talked about so this is the second year in a row that the Super Bowls, the home team is playing at this in the stadium. They're playing in their home stadium. It had never happened until last year, and then this year it's happened again. So they decided to make sure that'll never happen again. They're gonna have all the future Super Bowls at what's the name of your stadium?
Oh, AT&T.
AT&T Stadium. That way they'll know that it won't happen because the Cowboys won't get there.
Oh wow! I didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I sent it to you. I thought maybe I did because I can't find it. Yeah,
no,
which again,
that one.
I'm from Cleveland, so I mean they're not going to host a Super Bowl in Cleveland outside in February, but
right.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so what do you think? What do you think about this game? I haven't even really thought about the game as much as all the different shows I'm doing with it. But what do you think?
I'm actually excited. I love it when teams that are,
aren't the Patriots and Tom Brady?
Yes. After this last decade, give me some new blood. Give me some fresh teams in there. So for me, it's exciting just for that reason. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think it's, could go back and forth. And so I think it'll be an exciting game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Could be high scoring, maybe not. Two good defenses, so we're going to see. But I'm excited that these two teams. Obviously, my semi-adopted home team now is playing in their own stadium, so that's exciting for the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, I'm going to make lots of money, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's
true. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they haven't won a Super Bowl since when it was Vince St. Louis Rams. I don't even think Vince Ferragamo won back in the 70s.
No.
They lost.
I'm trying to think of who the quarterback was.
Was it Steelers?
Yeah, they played the Steelers. I remember Jackie Smith, the wide receiver, scored.
Yeah,
it was the Steelers. I'm trying to think. It wasn't. Who was the?
Wasn't it Vince Ferragamo?
It might have been Vince Ferragamo.
I think so.
I think it had to have been.
So, they haven't won the Super Bowl in LA ever as the Rams. So that would be exciting. But I'm an Ohio guy, so I wouldn't be disappointed at all if Cincinnati pulled the upset. So.
All right. So a couple things on that take, Doug. First of all, Cincinnati is Kentucky. And sorry, I said it. I said it. It's all out there now. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Kevin Trigg's gonna love me for that one.
You Northern Ohio person, you.
Yeah, it's Kentucky. So there's that.
Right.
I predicted the Rams and Browns in the Super Bowl preseason.
Well, you were close.
I predicted Matthew Stafford would leave the
The Lions.
Lions, and then win the MVP and win the Super Bowl. So
wow, you're a good. That's a good
I
prediction.
just, he's a talented guy, and they just didn't have around him. Like, he got beat up, and he's he's tough as nails, and he plays through injuries and everything else. But and I was glad for him. He's been through a lot with his wife having a brain tumor and everything. And best friends with Clayton Kershaw, by the way, if you didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went to high school together.
That's cool.
I have a take on Clayton Kershaw too. ESPN, it's a side. Sorry, I'm going there.
Right.
ESPN recently came out with a list of the 100 best baseball players of all time, which is an impossible task. But they had Clayton Kershaw at like 59, which is insane. I mean, regular season wise, he has to be one of the best 5 pitchers in the history of baseball. Okay, you can knock on him for his postseason stuff, but in regular season, no. The list is flawed because they have Pedro Martinez as the second best pitcher in history. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a video on that soon. Anyway, I have all kinds of things to say about that one. I had the Rams. I want to see Joe Burrow do well. He's a Buckeye, and he'll always be a Buckeye. He'll even tell you as much. So I've been, being a Browns fan in the last couple of weeks, rooting for the Bengals and rooting for Joe. So I kind of went into this week, even though I predicted the Rams, saying, I'm going to root for Joe. It's a great story. It's a great story. He's a great kid. And then I thought about the ramifications of that wish is that the Bengals have a Super Bowl win.
Right.
I don't know if I can handle that. So I'm doing a show tomorrow.
Another one, right?
I'm doing a show tomorrow on the best performances in the Super Bowl and a Super Bowl loss. So I'm hoping if I do that show again, Joe Burrow's on that list. I want Joe to do well, but I cannot handle Cincinnati and my Cincinnati friends holding the Vince Lombardi trophy. I can't.
Right.
I can't do it. No, all dating all the way back. Right. Paul Brown started this. There's so much history between the two and the rivalry, and I can't. So today I was making this realization. The show I didn't unmute on the number one Super Bowl commercial I had. You'll remember this when it was the Mean Joe Green commercial. Mean Joe Green commercial. So then I sat there and checked myself. It's like, here I am, almost rooting for the Bengals in the Super Bowl and having a Steelers commercial as number one. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Well, that's, I've got my own issues with the Steelers after they stole 2 Super Bowls from us in the 70s. So
I don't know, steal.
Well, I'm going to say steal.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we got one back in the 90s. That was good revenge, but, so yeah.
Pittsburgh,
but it was a good commercial.
It was a great commercial. Yeah, it was a great commercial. Pittsburgh's one of those teams that, I grew up hating, obviously, but I respect the organization. I mean, you got to, it's like, those teams I did not like. And, that was, it always seems like it was the Cowboys and the Steelers back then too. It's like they're Patriots now, but 34-30 Rams.
Okay.
That's what I have.
Yeah. I've got like 2 scores here. One is that both defenses play really well, and it's a close one, and the Rams come out on top 21-20. And that's weird because how do you get to 20? But two touchdowns, 2 field goals. Yeah. The other is that they just light up the scoreboard, and it's something in the nature of 35-28 Rams. Yeah. I do think the Rams come out on top. We're going to have fireworks till 4 a.m. here in LA. It'll be insane. Yes. I'll probably be driving till 6 a.m. because nobody's going to want to go to bed.
Yeah.
But, I do think the Rams come out on top. But like I said, wouldn't be disappointed if Joe Burrow pulled it off.
No, I sense the Bengals are going to win. I do. I sense the Bengals are going to win. And I had 34-30 Bengals an hour ago. So, I guess I can't. Again, I just wasn't thinking. I was thinking about it from the perspective of Joe winning. But again, the result of that is the Bengals have a Super Bowl
Yeah.
win. Like I can't do that.
I hear you.
I can't do
I
that.
just can't. I can't see the Bengals overcoming the Rams defense. They're talented.
Yeah, I can't
Chase
either.
is phenomenal. Burrow. I think they'll try to do a game plan where they kind of dink and doink their way down the field to keep the blitz from happening. But Von
They're going
Miller,
to have their offensive
Aaron
line.
Donaldson.
Yeah,
Oh, my
Aaron
gosh.
Donald's going to. Their offensive line has to have the game of their lives to
Yep.
do that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It's the first game I'm actually looking forward to seeing because I don't. I'm usually entertaining, because I love the parties.
Yeah.
I love the food. We wanted to do a part on the food part of it, like the best tailgate
Right.
things
Food.
and I wish. Yeah,
Let's mention a good dish, and maybe we can throw on the comments our thing for us.
Yeah.
Our go-to tailgating / watching a game dish is this chili cheese dip that is phenomenal. Like you take a giant brick of Velveeta and throw it in with some really good chili and Fritos and scoops.
Yep, scoops.
Oh my gosh, all day long. I'm like that becomes a meal for me during a game.
Yeah, we will post some of our favorite recipes, Super Bowl recipes, tailgating recipes on our Facebook page. I have a lot. Chili would definitely be one of them. I always would make chili. I love wings. I don't make wings that often, but there's a place in California, actually, when we lived in Temecula, a Chicago place, Rosati's. Shout out to Rosati's.
Hey.
Hi, Ange. When I first moved to Temecula, from where I met Doug at in Calabasas, my wife was involved in a mommy group and kind of just to meet new people and so forth. And she goes, "You should go. Some of the guys, the husbands are coming." I'm like, "All right, I'll go." And this guy had a Philadelphia Flyers jersey on, and those are great jerseys. The orange Philadelphia Flyer jerseys, those are great jerseys. So I think it was just a T-shirt, but so I went up and started talking to him because it was playoff time, it was playoffs, and he goes, "Yeah," because I was talking about the Blackhawks because I'm a diehard Blackhawks fan. He goes, "Yeah, I was just at a Chicago bar watching the Blackhawks in the playoffs last night." I'm like, "What?
Excuse me?
What? Excuse me?" I had just moved there, and it's like I had been home or in Chicago for all the other Stanley Cup runs, and it was killing me not being there. I'm like, "Where's that? What's the place?" And he didn't know. I'm like, "You call your buddy right now and find out because I'm not, I'm not leaving until we find out." So it was Rosati's and
That's awesome.
watched it there. But they had these wings. They had these two wings. One my wife liked, the spicy garlic, and then they have a habanero mango one. That both were really, really good. And I tried to recreate the sauce and did, because they wouldn't give me the recipes. And so I love wings. My wife loves wings. But Super Bowl is one of those ones that I love wings, and I love dips. I love dips of all sorts.
Oh yeah. I'm right there with you.
I didn't have enough time to think
of
of it, but we will post some 3 to 5 of our favorites.
Wings were on our list too.
What type of wings we talking? You like spicy, like non-spicy? Or?
I can't do the spicy stuff.
Yeah, I thought that's right. I thought I remembered that.
Yeah, I'm a wimp. I can do anything that's radish based. So horseradish, wasabi, I'm in.
Wasabi.
But if it's got chili oil, it wrecks me. So
yeah.
So I do like teriyakis, barbecues, honey.
Yeah, I like teriyakis.
That type of stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
Air fry our wings.
Yeah, we don't have an air fryer. We want to get one.
Dude, you got to get one.
That's what I've heard.
Amazing. Yep.
So I remember now that the spicy, because I make a lot of spicy food. So there's a lot of foods that you tried, and then I didn't see you for like 4 hours because you were probably on the toilet or something. Sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
But I remember
it's
that distinctly because I make a lot of spicy foods, and yeah.
I wasn't going to be rude and say, no, I'm not going to eat your food, because your food was always amazingly delicious. That's just one of those things. I took one for the team. It was like, I'm going to eat this.
I distinctly remember a couple of those times. Oh, that's so funny. I totally forgotten about that. So we will post some. I was really kind of looking forward to that segment, but I couldn't. Got to learn to press mute, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
Was there something else? There's something else in the Super Bowl. I changed my page that I wanted to mention. Super Bowl, team, stadium, food, but I guess not. One of these days, The Browns will be in the Super Bowl.
They will.
It will happen,
Hey,
right? It has to
the Cubs
happen.
won the World Series, bro.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So
greatest day of my life, other than my kids being born, getting married. Greatest day of my life.
Nothing is impossible with God.
No, that's right. Well, I think about about that. I think about all the times in my life when I was younger, sitting on the side of my bed during Browns playoffs and praying to God. It's like the only time I prayed. It's like, let the Browns win, like just because it meant so much to Cleveland and everything else. It was more than football. It was just, I remembered, it's the only time I actually remember actually praying to God. I talked to God a lot, but praying to God that the Browns would win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl. And
you needed more people praying with you. 2 or more agreed. Well, let's pray for a Cowboys Browns Super Bowl. We'll go to the game together. Well, let's make it happen.
That would definitely be that. We would definitely. I don't care how much it costs.
We would definitely go.
Oh yeah, we would definitely go. Although I always say that, with the way the Super Bowl is, it's so corporate and everything.
Yeah.
That, I think I'd rather watch it, with fans, than be at those the games. But, World Series is different. But yeah,
we'll see when it happens. You may want to be there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have to be in Cleveland, Doug. I think I'd have to be.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
You come with me to Cleveland.
I could definitely see it. All right, I'll come.
Even though the stadium, it's probably going to be at AT&T Stadium. So
could be, yeah,
because they're scheduling them all there, so they don't.
That's funny.
Anyways, all right,
I've got family in Youngstown, so I'll come hang out with them and come hang out with you. We'll do both.
All right, yeah. I see my Cubs hat. I was like, yeah, that was the greatest.
Good segue.
Day. Yeah, that Rosati's group. So I went there and watched the Blackhawks game and met a whole bunch of Chicago people. Just a magical time in my life. And we didn't necessarily love Temecula, but that Rosati's group, it's people I fell in love with, and we connected over the Hawks. And then that was the first run for the Cubs when we lost to the Mets in NLCS. And then I moved, and I remember just calling them from the bar I was watching the Cubs, and we were all just crying, just like, again, I'm an Indians fan too, so it was a rough night for that, but it was all Cubs. It wasn't there. But anyways, I dreamt that my entire life. So that was, other than my kids being born and getting married, that was the greatest night of my life. I can watch that play over and over. I jumped in the bay on November 3rd.
Nice.
It wasn't iced over, and I jumped in the bay. Other people were supposed to jump with me. They didn't. So anyway, all right. Well, next week we will dive into Doug's book. If you're interested in being a guest on our show, that was fun. Karen's phone did die. She texted me a little while ago. So if you're still listening, Karin, thank you so much for coming on, and I will touch base with you.
Karin.
And we'll have you on again when we're sharing journeys and so forth when you're if you want to and comfortable doing so, because I'd love to hear more, and I'd love to grab coffee and do that. So thank you for coming on. If you are interested in jumping on our show and sharing your journey and your walk with God, or talk sports with us, talk recipes, talk music with us, we'd love to have you. That was fun having a guest.
Absolutely,
that was fun. So we'll dive into the book a little bit next week. Find my notes or create new ones by then. And we'll go from there. We'll post recipes on the Facebook page. We'll also post some links to music that we talked about tonight. Doug is still working on his playlist.
Yep.
He hasn't started. He hasn't started.
Nope.
I'm not sure he knows how to create it. So
that's probably more.
I'm going to walk him through that so he can create that. So we will have Doug's epic playlist at some point on there. But Karin brought up like Cherish and some. I have a million songs that I love. I have this whole feel good, and I have different playlists for different moods, and I think I'm gonna put that one on there too. I think I'm gonna some feel good stuff. So I'm trying to think what's on there. Little Steve Winwood. That's great. It's great stuff. Then I have my old school.
Higher love. Higher love.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Annetta loves that song too. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of great stuff on there. for that. All
All
right.
right.
We're rambling. All right, Doug, we will talk soon, and you're going to work on your playlist, and we'll go from
Yes,
there.
sir.
We're out. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Blessings.
Yes. I'm going to try to do this, and even though it's probably not going to work, I'm going to kind of do this officially. I'm going to put on like a little theme song. Theme song. Thong. You hear me? Theme thong.
Theme song.
Those will be in our store soon.
That could get weird.
Those will be in our store. The pastor and professor thongs. This is going nowhere. I can't get the music on now. Oh, there it is. Well, there it is. All right. We're out. See you guys.